Hey, Obodo fam. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. You're welcome back to our channel. Happy Sunday. Hope everybody is doing well. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you all so much. Good afternoon. If you're joining from the state side, I appreciate you for making it a date with me tonight. Today is the 13th of Feb 2022. Thank you all so much for being here today. Good evening. Sister Gigi, you are here. Thank you. Juanita, I say hello. Sarah, you're welcome. Ituojo, you're welcome. Thank you, everyone. Incurable Optimistic, welcome, everyone. Thank you so much. If you are joining us for the first time and you have not yet subscribed, may I please encourage you to do so. So if you are watching on television or you've not yet subscribed before, please subscribe because it's subscribers only on the comment section during the show. Give the video a thumbs up as you are coming in, and please put your notification bell on so that whenever we have a live stream or whenever we drop a video, you get notified. Some of the shows are not like the regular days that we do the shows, so you need to have that notification bell on so you get notified whenever we post a video. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. So I have a guest in the studio. Her name is Debbie. She's our sister, and she's had quite an experience, and she has come to share that experience with us regarding marriage. Debbie said that she was married for 21 years, and it was a very tumultuous marriage. So may I please ask, before I introduce Debbie, that please be kind. You know the way we do it here. Put on your heart of compassion, kindness. We don't judge. This is a no judgmental zone. No judgment, please. This is her story, is her life. And I would really, really appreciate if you can show kindness, compassion, and understanding. Okay, we draw the lessons out of the story. Where we think there's a red flag, we bring it out while she narrates the story. This is usually how we do it. But we thank God for the grace that He's giving us, and we want to consider this platform in a free and safe zone for people to express their life stories without being judged or condemned. So please be respectful of my guests. I block and delete negative comments. I trust Obodo fam that are here already. I know you usually you are just too kind. So I don't have any problem with my regular Obodo fam. It's just some new people who don't know what we do here. So please hit the like button and please be kind. Thank you all so much. So let's welcome Debbie. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, sis. Thank you so very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, my darling. How are you doing?
Doing good. I was saying to you earlier that my heart is racing. It's not a very easy story to tell, but I'm ready. God will help me.
Yeah. Don't worry. This is the people here are very, very supportive. So, and I assure you again, by definition, it's gonna be like a lump has been removed from your chest because it's just gonna love. People are gonna embrace you, and you would not regret coming here. Thank you so much for being brave. It's not easy to put yourself out there. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, sis. I appreciate you too.
All right. So, if you are ready, let's hear from the beginning how you got into this marriage and why we are here today.
Yes. Sometime in 1995, I was in my late 20s, going on 30. I was ready for marriage. I'd had a couple of disappointments, and then I met this person, this man. I choose not to refer to him as ex-husband because he was not a husband to me in the real sense of the word, even though the ceremonies were conducted. So when I met this man, he was extremely charming. He was very, very loving. He was very, very romantic. And he was all over me. That's the word, the terminology I can use here. He was really all over me. And it's later on, much later on, many decades later, that I discovered that such a thing as love bombing existed. So he perfected the art of love bombing to a T. And within like a year or so, because I was slowing the relationship down, he was rushing it ahead, and he proposed. I had allowed myself to fall in love. I'm using the word allow because if I had stepped back and considered many things, I wouldn't have. There were many red flags and there were many dissenting voices. So some of the red flags were that he didn't have a job. He said he was working for himself. He was a graduate. So I was wondering, why would you as a graduate not have a job? I had a stable job and I had income. But he didn't ask me for money or anything. Rather, he would spend money on me. Later on, I found that he was getting the money from his family. He would say so to me later on that, oh, the business deals I did in this country, I was doing business outside of the country, Nigeria. This business deal, I'm expecting money to come in dollars, but in the meantime, my family, and he would mention the family member, loaned me this amount or they gave me that amount. And then some of the red flags that started to come out was that every time there was a disagreement, he would not let the disagreement rest. So he would stretch it and stretch it forever. And he would twist some of my words. And then, so I started to feel like I had a headache in my emotions. Like my emotions were traumatized by every argument. So I thought, what is going on here? So I tried to break the courtship a few times, but he wouldn't take no for an answer. And then I spoke to some pastors in church. That was before the wedding, and they just they laughed it off. They say, "Oh yeah, when you now start to get to know a person, you have arguments. It's not a big deal." And all the other red flags I expressed, I was really like encouraged. Don't worry about it. Everything will be fine. You just continue to pray and to be yourself. It seemed like the mission of the church, Pentecostal church, a big one. If I mention it, you would know it. It seemed like the mission of the church was to marry off all of us young ladies. It was like, okay, you guys are nearing 30 now. Go and marry. And even though I understood one side of it, which is that you don't want fornication in church, so Bible says to avoid fornication, let every man marry and every woman marry. Okay, yes, I understand that. But on the other hand, do you just marry anybody, or do you? Yeah. So anyway, moving forward, the ceremonies took place. Before the ceremonies took place, I had dissenting voices from my family. And if there is anything that I'm working through right now in personal therapy, just between me and the Lord, is to forgive myself many, many, many things. And one of it is the fact that when the dissenting voices came, I didn't listen. I come from this family where everybody's really respectful of everybody else. My sisters, my parents, my brothers, my uncles, everybody's very respectful and we're very caring and loving. I'm daddy's girl. Dad loves me so much. Mom loves me so much. That sort of family. And sometimes I wish that maybe I maybe I came from a family where they had called me into a house, into a room one day and just slapped me hard. Go out. Maybe if they had done that, my eyes would have cleared that no, you're about to make a mistake. But they were just trying to point some things out to me, and have you looked at this? What about this? We were not sure about this. And one particular family member said to me, "I don't like the way he talks to you." And I can never forget those words. She said, "I don't like the way he talks to you." But then he would say some of these scathing things, and he would say it with like jest, like he was joking. So he would say it seriously, and then he would crack a joke, and I would laugh. But this particular family member picked it up and said, "Oh no, I don't like the way he talks to you." And I defended him to I defended him to a hilt. Next thing that happened after that, all of that, was the ceremonies took place in 1998. Somehow or another, he didn't quite know that I was born in England, and all of that. And so I can't say at the time that meant anything. But he got to know 6 months to the wedding, and I remember that sometimes when we had some heated arguments, and I said I didn't feel comfortable and I didn't want to get married to him anymore, he wouldn't take no for an answer. So I don't know whether it was because he had now found out that I was born in England and all that. So I was taken back to Nigeria as a child, as a very little girl, and then I grew up in Nigeria and then came back to live in England with him. Anyway, we both came to England. I came with my UK passport. He came with a visiting visa, and we tried to apply for his leave to remain. The office then was in Croydon, and they said there was a backlog, there was this, that, and the other. We want you to go back to where you got married and apply there. Okay. Then our first child was born in 1999, and another thing that happened then was the 18 months from the time we moved into the UK and the time we went back to Nigeria to apply for the visa, he chose not to work. And it was at the time when, even though he didn't have leave to remain to work with proper NI, I wasn't asking him to do identity fraud or whatever. I wasn't asking him to use anybody's NI. I kind of was encouraging him to sort of work in the community, because I saw guys do that, and I saw ladies do that as well, where they would provide a service and then they would be paid cash in hand. So I was asking that he would do that just to support me and the baby. He refused flatly, and he chose to stay at home, and he was looking after the baby, and I was going to work. So it was very strenuous to juggle work and looking after a baby. Fast forward, went to Nigeria. We got that leave to remain. Like I don't know. It's been a long time. That was year 2000, 22 years ago now. I think we got that first year one, and then came back, and then we got the 3 years. So in between all of that time, now the marriage was coming up to roughly around 4 years, roughly. I noticed that the trouble just started to creep in from the time he got that visa and we came back. The verbal abuse, the constant emotional abuse, which consists of criticism, meanness in the choice of words, constant anger, refusal to go out with me, like it was trying to isolate me from people, just refusal to go out with me and the baby. Then she had become a toddler. I was trying so hard to please him. Nothing like that was happening. And then he started to complain, I want to go back to Nigeria to run my business. So I'm going to do both. I'm going to go to Nigeria, I'll run business, and I said, what about work? He finally got a job, but then every opportunity he would leave
Wants
work
to
and
go
he
to
would
Nigeria.
travel. Yes.
Okay.
And
Thank you very much, Debbie. You're doing very well. You're doing very well. So I'm just going to pause you here because there's been a bunch of lessons. I've just been taking notes since you were talking. I think you're doing very, very well. You're a very confident speaker. You sound like someone that is experienced in, doing presentations. So take a sip of water if you need to while I quickly run through some of the red flags, even though you've pointed them out yourself. Thank you so much. So the first thing that I identified there, that he didn't have a job. And if a man doesn't have a job, I don't know why he needs a wife. As far as I'm concerned, if you don't have a job, you don't need a wife. Go and get a job first. God introduced the garden to Adam before he introduced Eve. So job, wife, not wife, job. Okay? So that's number one red flag. A man that doesn't have a job, what is he going to use to marry you? That's to tell you that a lot of the responsibility financially is going to be on you, the wife. If both of you are not working, you will not be getting married. Who is going to fund the marriage? Who's going to fund the ceremony? Who's going to fund the life? Marriage costs money. You can't marry with words. You can't marry with, just because you love someone. So I think we've established that if you don't have a job, please don't even entertain saying, I want to get married. So no job, I'm working for myself. This kind of I'm working for myself, but you never see anything out of that working for myself business, in quotes, business. A lot of people, especially in the church, hide under I'm working for myself, I'm doing business. Lazy people hide under that. Okay. So red flags that you need to be aware of. Second one you said was he's quarrelsome. He's very, very quarrelsome. He holds grudges for a long time. I mean, things happen in marriages, people who have disagreement, but the Bible says that you shouldn't allow the sun to go down on your argument. You shouldn't fight and keep it, because a lot of fights will happen in the course of a marriage. So you should make up and just move on, not bearing grudges for a long time, and unforgiveness. There was a lot of unforgiveness there. Okay. And the church flags, you actually knew that, okay, there are some things that not they didn't align with your values and the things that you wanted in a relationship or in a marriage. But I cannot believe, and this is happening very frequently. Next week we are going to do a show is supporting and actually hiding abusers. We have a show about it next week. The church, or the people that you call pastors, they tend to ignore the red flags, which it shouldn't be. That is completely wrong, because you saw it. There was some disrespect going on, complimentary jokes. And you know how you say something to hurt someone. Words are very, very powerful. And that's why here we talk about how you need to tell your children things that will encourage them. People come here and share their stories of how their parents or aunties or family members have said things to them that have really, affected them, and now they are dealing with trauma. A lot of people are in trauma, they are in counseling and having therapy because of childhood trauma, relating to the words that the adults in their lives spoke into them. Words are very powerful. Don't say I'm joking. You just say a woman now and say, oh, say as your belly fat. And then you say, oh, it's a joke. No, it's not a joke. It's a red flag. A massive red flag. All right. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Choosing not to work after you went and got the paper, the so-called paper that he didn't have. Now he has the paper and he's not working. That's another red flag. Okay. And then, of course, there was, verbal abuse and criticism. Mm-mm. The internet. Oh my God. Debbie, can you go on, please? Why I sort this internet out? I hear he's having problems again.
Okay. All
All
right.
right, carry on, please.
Thank you. So what I noticed was just a
Yeah, go
refusal
on.
to, yes, a refusal to support my progress in any way. Bearing in mind, like I said, from day one that we got into the UK, I started working. I started working within a week that we got into the UK. So then we had issues with housing. We were renting in a very rough part of town, and I said, okay, I really don't want to bring up our very little daughter in this area. I'd like us to buy. At first, I tried to rent. I thought, okay, well, let's rent, but the deposits and all of the associated costs with renting was huge. And a friend of mine said, I know a part of town that rent buying is pretty affordable, and you can actually get a mortgage. All that period was that period when the housing boom happened. So that was from 2001 and so on. And he said, no, I don't want to buy. What am I buying for? You want to tie me down in this UK? Why do you want to tie me down to one mortgage? I'll be paying mortgage all the time. So it was like a film to me, all of the stress, all of the argument, all of the trouble. But I persevered and I insisted and I said, no, I need to buy. I've gone to this area where my friend told me about. It's a little bit far out, but there are trains there and it's a better area to bring up a child. I want to buy in this area. The houses are affordable. And guess what? I had to get all the deposit, because at that time they allowed you to do 5% deposit to get mortgage. I did all the deposit, and despite that, when the Mortgage broker came to our home and asked, how do you want to own this home? Do you want joint owners on it, or do you want tenants in common? Because I didn't understand I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I do laugh like this to as a coping strategy.
It's good. It's good to laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Otherwise, you're
uh,
just going to cry. So, I mean,
honestly,
if laughing helps you, why not?
because me agreeing that we should do joint ownership, it's what has dragged me through the greatest pain post divorce. I've had divorce took place in 2020. This is 2022. I've had 2 years of hell, 2 years of legal terribleness, 2 years of thousands of money down the drain, and it's not even over. And okay, I'm stammering because I'm beginning to feel
That's okay.
the emotional
That's
impact
okay.
of what I've been
So,
through.
so,
So
so,
uh,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I feel like at that point, the lesson there is that if you don't understand what some, terminologies mean, especially when it comes to investment, you need to ask. Thank God the broker was there. So people need to ask. Just ask, what does it mean? Tenants in common. What does it mean? Full ownership. What does it? What I mean, it's okay to ask questions. These people, this is their job, and I'm sure they wouldn't mind, explaining. So that's a learning for anyone listening out there. Anything you don't understand, any language you don't understand when it comes to investment, please ask. What does it mean? What's the implication in the future? How does this affect me? How does this protect my investment? Very, very important. Thank you, my sister. Go on.
Okay, thank you. And so we moved into this first house, and then the abuse, like I said, didn't stop. So the abuse was stonewalling, silent treatment, 3 weeks at a time, sometimes 2 weeks at a time, and then serious arguments, gaslighting me, turning the tables. I would end up being the one apologizing, even though I wasn't wrong, and everything else. Contemptuous talking, no empathy, even when maybe I'm sick or something is going on, no empathy. He was emotionally detached. It was as though he suddenly just resented my presence. Like, I would ask him things like, did I really, who proposed to who really? Did I force you? You proposed to me. I said yes to you. And, yeah. And then, of course, the financial side of the abuse was that I did like 60%, 65% of the income when it eventually started to work, and he would do like 40% side of all of things, because he did pay the mortgage and the council tax, but he made sure that everything else, every extra budgetary things, every extra things on the children, and everything had to fall on me. And so I became both the man and the woman in the house. And of course, in terms of the domestic side of things, it was nowhere to be found, other than school runs whenever he was in the country. There was no support with regards to the domestic side of things. And I kid you not, I know I've sort of jumped ahead of myself because I haven't told you about the birth of my second child, and that one is critical. That's a very important aspect I need to talk about. So
Mm-hmm.
at a point, when the first child was about 3, I started to say, please, I would like to have a second child. I would like to have a second child, and he said, no, you can't have a second child because that child would all of it and all of you would disturb me in my business pursuit. And in this business pursuit, he didn't
Hmm.
bring a dime. I didn't get money off his hand
Hmm.
for anything for the children or for myself in this supposed business pursuit. So for like a whole year, I begged him to have a second child because he made sure that I had the contraceptive on and all of that. So I begged him nonstop and everything, and finally he said, "Okay." After I'd talked to yet another pastor, and then he said, "Okay, I'm deliberately mentioning all these things about pastors. I'm sure there are fantastic pastors who are out there who are listening, and I pray God's blessings upon you. But in my case, I didn't receive support from the church in any way, shape, or form." Eventually, I had the second child. But before I had the second child, during pregnancy, he abused me nonstop. He abused me nonstop throughout pregnancy, yelling, shouting, abusive words, rejection of my unborn child. He would speak against her. Oh my goodness, I need to keep my voice down. You need to see her picture. She's a darling, darling 18-year-old now. Now she's smashing. She's very intelligent. She's in a fantastic school, about to go to uni, and she's upstairs right now. So I'm going to just keep my voice down.
Yeah. Yeah. So the learning at that point, the learning for that is that please, please, ladies, I'm begging you in the name of Jesus Christ. The last thing you want to do is to bring children into a relationship that is abusive.
Hmm.
Don't do it, please. Save yourself, because having more children is just going to elongate your suffering. Why would you don't have children with in a relationship that you are not happy? Don't. If it's one you have already, leave it there until things get better, or until if you need to get out, you get out, because children suffer from abuse. They do suffer. And I know, Debbie, at some point you said you had to apologize to your children, you know, ask them for forgiveness and all that. But the learning for everyone listening out there, please, if you are not happy, because the reason why I'm saying is that it's very, very common in our culture. Nigerian women, I want to have my children with one man. I want to have my children in one place. And I don't blame a lot of women that do that. It's again a cultural fault. Because in our culture, they blame women if you have children for more than one man.
Hmm.
Oh, this woman have children for two men. You have children for three men. Do you know what is pursuing them? No woman wants to be, I mean, I'm sure there are, but very rarely will you see a woman I'll be jumping from one man to the other. When somebody is running, ask the person first, listen and find out what is pursuing that person. So children is a no, no, no. In fact, even if he was the one that wanted it, you make sure you're not getting pregnant when the relationship is not good. That is a learning there for everyone that is listening. Okay, let's go on.
Thank you. So, at the 8th month of pregnancy, the abuse was so great. I reported to the police. I was very heavy, and I remember that day I carried myself to the police station to talk to an officer, because I had no one to talk to now, because the pastors hadn't helped me. I had no family here in the UK. I had only a few friends who were also, getting on with their lives. The officer just said to me that there was no tools that he had to pursue my report, because he asked me repeatedly, has he laid hands on you? Has he laid hands on you? And this man refused. He just made sure that he just never laid hands on me, ever.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if we are in another country, probably, maybe we're in Nigeria, probably myself. But the officer said, this is a case of harassment. You have to go and speak maybe to leaders in your community to talk to him. There really isn't anything we can do. And I remember I was so devastated. I sat in my car, I cried so hard. I was heavily pregnant, and I ran away to a hotel. I left my first child at home. I ran to a hotel and I stayed overnight. And while I was at the hotel, I called the pastor. And I said to the pastor, this is what I'm going through. I'm in this hotel. I can't bear it anymore. I'm heavily pregnant, and my pregnancy was rough. My pregnancy was rough. The second one was rough. The pastor said to me, oh, you have to go back home. I will speak to him. And I went back home. The pastor must have called him. And when I went back home, the first thing he said to me was that, so you went to stay in a hotel and you think that will move me. You are joking. You're having a laugh.
Hmm.
I don't even know what nonsense you've gone to do. So the abuse just escalated. On the night that my child was going to be born, I remember where I was standing in that house, and what I was wearing, because that is a memory that I'm walking through to receive my healing. And when I talked about PTSD, flashbacks is one of the issues in PTSD. You go
Mm-hmm.
back in time as though you were reliving the experience, as though it was happening to you, again.
All
I
over.
mean, yeah. So I stood in this particular spot. I remember what I was wearing, and then he was yelling, shouting, calling names, saying stuff. I don't want this child. I don't want this child. And so on. Right there, my water broke. My water broke, and suddenly he would just stop talking, went inside the room, grabbed the bag, and took me to hospital. I had 2 days of excruciating labor. In the presence of people, he would behave like he was a kind, normal person. So he was in the labor ward, pretending, behaving, and all of that. Eventually, the baby came. Placenta refused to come out. They gave him the baby. I was in excruciating pain for hours because the theater was backlogged. And finally, there was space for me to go to the theater. And eventually, they took out the placenta. They wanted to release me the next day. Guess what I did? I begged the doctors. I said, I do not want to go home yet. I didn't say to them that I was going through abuse. I should have. I should have. But in my head, I was like, I've got a second child now. It's going to work. I'm sure this child will maybe everything will be better. I was joking. I was having a laugh because by the time I got home, the name calling, the stonewalling, silent treatment, and then whenever there was spoken word, it was to yell at me about, you're trying to hold me back in my business with this child. You're trying, and then it would speak negative words about the child. And then eventually I found my voice and I started to talk back. And I said to him, don't talk about my child like this. This child is a baby, but she has a spirit, and her spirit can absorb your energy. You are bringing an evil energy with your negativity and all of this cursing and all of these negative words. And I continued to stay, and there would be there was constant withdrawal of Kiriwa. I needed to mention that as well. 2-3 weeks at a time, a month at a time, just a withdrawal. I would wonder, oh, is he getting it elsewhere? Probably,
Of
who knows?
course.
And I'm not the kind of girl, I'm not the kind of woman that would check your phone and check it and look at your emails. I just feel that, why should I not trust you? Yeah. So I couldn't prove anything.
When you
And
said that, when you were narrating the story, and you said before the constant withdrawal of Kiriwa, when you said you found your voice when you had your
yes,
second child, you eventually found your voice when you couldn't take it anymore. Because if there's anything that will push a woman to behave out of character, is protecting her children. As a mother, I know that most women will do anything to protect their children, because they will even allow you to do it to them. But if you try it to their children, they will not. What do you mean by that? Was it out of respect, or was it out of fear that you couldn't, fight back before this time?
so before this time, I would fight back, but I would be pretty subdued because I was very concerned because of the impact of the silent treatment on me. It was a psychological devastation on my emotions. I would just, I'll be so traumatized by it. How can you be with me in the same house for 2 weeks? You won't even say hello, and you would eat my food, but it won't touch me, it won't talk to me, and so I would argue 1 minute, the next minute I would say, I'm sorry. So I constantly said sorry until that point where I found my voice and I was like, hang on, I haven't done anything to you. I haven't
Mm-hmm.
done anything to you. Why am I
Mm-hmm.
saying sorry? And the more I communicated my boundaries, you would have thought that maybe there might be a change. The more I communicated my boundaries, the more he got worse. It was like an escalation, like petrol. I poured petrol on fire. So it was like I was giving him ammunition. Like, oh, so this thing hurts you. Oh, wow, lovely, thank you. And then he did more of that thing, either the silent treatment or the talking or harsh words or criticism or financial abuse, withholding money. I mean, things, emergencies will come, and I would say, please, I just need you to give me 50% of this money for this thing. And he would just, don't ever talk to me about money. Don't come and talk to me about this again. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. Okay, am I meant to go to Mr. Smith next door? You're supposed to be the husband. Who else will I go to if I have financial challenge on a situation that has to do with my child? One of the situations was that this beautiful second child, I had to put her in an unregistered minder. And if anyone is listening to this, please don't ever do it. I did it, and it's no, no, no. These children don't deserve it. And the unregistered minder started to take catering work. When I took my daughter there, she only had 3 or 4 children. She now said, "Oh, she didn't tell us when she started to do what's it called, catering. I just got there one day and I started to smell food, and it was big pots of fire on fire, big pots of oil and everything. And then the last straw was the day she carried my child and the other children and gave them to the grandma next door because she was going shopping with her daughter who just flew from one other country to visit her. And so she was going shopping. She didn't call me to say leave work and come and get your child. She just chucked them at the grandma next door and went shopping. I was livid, and that was the day the next day I took my child out and now started to look for a registered nursery, found a registered nursery that I couldn't afford, told this man, please, I need more money so I can pay. I'll pay 50%. You pay 50%, so I can put this child in this registered nursery. No, I don't have money. Where do you want me to
Was he
find it? So I
working
said,
at this point, or it was
yeah,
still his
yes,
business?
no, he was working. It was doing that business that I never saw the money. He was working, and then he was traveling a lot. And of course, you can imagine what a flight ticket to Nigeria costs. And he
Mm-hmm.
was traveling constantly, constantly, constantly. And I had to take my daughter to this registered nursery, and I maxed out all my credit cards.
Hmm.
And the lowest point financially for me was a period of time when my child was in that registered nursery, where I was using credit card to buy food.
Hmm.
I was using credit card to buy food. So I entered into serious debt. I'm talking about tens and tens and tens of thousands of pounds of debt. I
Hmm.
did. They're all paid up now to the glory of God. But it was a time when, at a point, I thought I was about 39 going on 40. It was a time I said, I don't think I'm going to celebrate my 40th because I think that I'm going to delete
Hmm.
because of the physical exhaustion and the emotional torture that I was
Hmm.
going through. I cannot, we don't have the time. I cannot describe all of it. I'm just trying to rush through to bring out the salient aspects. And then after that, I decided, like I said, when I found my voice, I decided to just be happy, create my own happiness, move on with my life. So
Mm-hmm.
I now started to talk about a second house because it was during the property boom. And after again another long period of back and forth, we bought the second house again in joint names.
Hmm.
In joint
Another
names.
massive red flag.
Oh my
Another
goodness.
massive learning. My people, putting your assets together. You know what a lot of our people don't know. Baby, you're doing very well. Okay, we don't
Thank
blame
you.
you.
Thank
This is
you.
what I was saying in my last, the show before the last one, when I was saying how the average Nigerian woman, this is the way we were brought up. We're taught, you know, in a marriage, you build with your husband. You are supposed to submit. You're supposed to do this. This is it. This is the culture. So no, I'm not blaming you at all. But please, if you live in a diaspora and you are listening to this, know that if you have anything worth anything and you are married, it belongs to both of you. Even if the other person did not contribute one penny to it. So if you are legally married and you put all your money to buy a house or you buy a property, whether the other person does not contribute, if it's a man that bought it, it belongs to him and his wife. If it's a woman that bought it, it belongs to him, to her, and her husband. So just know that. Okay. And from everything you said so far, I mean, in hindsight, I'm sure you'll be thinking at this point, you shouldn't even have been in the marriage, but you were still there. And with everything that was going on, because you are a, upwardly and mobile thinking woman, you are just thinking about advancing yourself, advancing your life, advancing your family. You are
Yeah.
thinking of buying another property with everything going on.
Hmm.
Massive red flag. But go ahead.
So yeah, and then we bought the house, and of course the abuse just escalated, and nothing changed. One of the worst statements I heard, and I heard it relentlessly for a few months, was um, I did not bring a good head into the marriage. I did not bring good luck into the marriage, because if I had brought a good head into the marriage or good luck into the marriage,
Mm-hmm.
his businesses abroad would have succeeded, and he
Mm-hmm.
would be rich by now, and he would have money by now. I
Mm-hmm.
was so devastated. I could not stop crying. And then I asked him, I said, what are you trying to say? Are you trying to call me a witch? Because that
Mm-hmm.
was how I felt. I felt the greatest load of condemnation. And
Mm-hmm.
because of, it's like there is a negative power over his head that gives him the ability for his words to really pierce into my soul, deeply into my soul. I started to think about it. It was like I was being brainwashed. I started to think about it and ask myself, am I really a witch? Can I be a witch and not know it? Ladies and gentlemen, I gave my life to the Lord Jesus Christ at the age of 14, and I was in CU, Christian Union, and like all of that. He was my first man. I didn't do anything. I was like, yeah, SU, SU.
Is
So
I
what?
mean,
So,
isn't it? I mean, isn't it so interesting how a lot of the women that come here to share is always Good
The
girls.
good girl.
It's the good girls. It's the good girls. It's the first man. They married them as a virgin. He's the only man they've been with. Isn't it interesting? Christian women that know all the values of how to be a good wife, they they are the ones that are more likely to end up with a mongopa. For some reason, I don't know why. And you see, sometimes you see girls that are party girls that done all the runs in this world from university to secondary school. They've been doing runs all their life. They will go and end up with one good man. And you'll be wondering, how is this life like this? Why is life so unfair? And the part that you said that he was saying that you didn't bring good head, that's very typical of Nigerian culture again. You see, this is what they say when you end up with somebody that has no plans, they are lazy, and they are not willing
Mhm.
to do the work. Is always the woman's fault. You know, anything that goes on in Africa, in Nigeria, is the woman's fault. So it's you that has bad head. Meanwhile, your bad head is working for you. Oh. You bought one house, you are
Yeah.
thinking of buying another house that he did not contribute a dime to.
Hmm.
But it is your bad, so-called bad head that is making him not progress. Instead of him to concentrate his energy, go to school here, get a better paying job. No, he wants to do business in Nigeria. All this business in Naira that never yield anything. People will invest thousands of pounds on so-called businesses in Nigeria. At the end of the day, all the money will go down the drain because they are here, their family is here, and they are trying to juggle, running to Nigeria and back, running to Nigeria and back. At the end of the day, all the money will be lost, and it is the wife, the poor wife, that will end up being blamed. That is wrong. It is not your fault. As you lay your bed, so you lie on it. Nobody is responsible for anybody's, you know, for anybody. Not if you don't make it, please hold yourself accountable. Don't blame anybody. That's emotional abuse and it's gaslighting.
Yes.
Completely wrong. Go ahead, my sister. I just needed to put that out there because it happens quite a lot in our culture. Kò gbórí orí tó gbé wá sílé wa kò ń ṣe kò ń ṣe oríire ló gbé wá sílé wa. He didn't
Yeah.
bring good head into our house. Una
Yeah.
sef get good head. Una get good head. How
Exactly.
you no get work?
Exactly. I should actually say that. Yeah. So I decided to go back to school. I got my MBA, then I started my business. And as I was doing all of that, he got even madder and madder. I actually asked him, I did encourage him, go back to school, get a different qualification, retrain. No, he wouldn't retrain, he wouldn't, and he would still blame me. I just became the punching bag for everything and every negativity going on in his life, or even outside of his personal life. It was still me. Meanwhile, he would bring all manner of people into the home, like his friends' families. They would come on holiday. I was a domestic help. I would cook, I would clean, I would look after everybody. I would run around and be the dutiful wife. I tried, I almost deleted myself in an attempt to please him, and there was no pleasing him. And what I would like to say to ladies is this, or even man, if the abuser is the female, you cannot please an abuser. You cannot change an abuser by trying to please him. Either you create your boundaries, you express your boundaries. If your boundaries are not disrespected, you actually do need to have that exit plan, and you need to leave because of the impact of staying for so long. And I eventually stayed in this thing that I'm describing to you, which I have not even told you half. I've not told you the impact on my daughters, because it was terrible for them. I would protect their privacy. They're adults now. I will not go into any detail, but it was excruciating. It was terrible for them. They are going through their own healing journey as I speak right now. And so if you're staying in a fast of a marriage, if you're staying in a situationship for the children, you're doing the wrong thing, because God created them for a purpose. And you're staying in there like I did might end up affecting that purpose. And yeah, and then you're now doing medicine after death, like praying after, oh, this my child is behaving like this. Why? It's because they observed that abuse, they experienced that trauma. I mean, how can somebody who is this terrible be a good father? He was not a good father. He was very far from a good father. He was an abusive father, and
Hmm.
he needs to ask his God for forgiveness for being this kind of person that he was. I don't even call him a father. I call him SD. SD meaning a sperm donor. Anybody can donate a sperm, but it takes much more to be a father. He was not one, not in the least bit. So it was a terrible experience for them. And the last straw for me, because I want to move into that to the legal aspect very quickly. The
So you
last
went
straw
ahead and bought the house. You didn't finish that aspect of it. So you bought a second
I
house.
did,
Mhm.
yes,
Did
in
he
both
contribute
things,
to
jointly.
that as well?
No, no, it all
So
came from the equity that I released and any money that I could put together for the lawyers, put together for the broker, and it all came from that. And I see, get this, I was even the one that looked for the houses. He didn't even search for the houses. He didn't even like go to estate agents. He didn't. The only bit he did was he went to collect the key for the completion. That was all he
when
did.
you had the first house, was it paying towards the mortgage as well, or were you the one paying all the
Yeah,
mortgage?
he was paying the mortgage.
He was paying the
Yes, I
mortgage on the
insisted.
first one,
Yes, it
the
was. I
first
insisted,
house.
and
Okay,
yes,
okay.
yes, and the second house too. I insisted that he would pay the mortgage. But after the mortgage and all of that, can you imagine all the other bills? Can you imagine bringing up children? Can you imagine tuition fees for not private school or anything like that, but like extra lessons, preparing for GCSEs. One of my children is creative, so she has special teachers in the creative line that she has chosen, and holidays abroad, because I'm this sort of person. I like to enjoy life. I believe that God gave us life to enjoy. So
Mm-hmm.
why should I work hard and not go on holiday? We want to
Mm-hmm.
go on holiday, he won't come. A couple of times that he came on holiday, he spent the whole time fighting, arguing, just making a mess of it. And yeah, and all the holidays I will pay, I will buy. So like I said, I became both the man and the woman in the home, and I hated to do that because it was affecting me deep in my psyche, my subconscious, my soul. So when I talk about the PTSD, it is a major thing. I have flashbacks, and I have to find coping strategies to cope with them. I've gone through depression. I have gone through severe crying, non-stop crying, whereby I had to draw up a crying chart just to monitor the crying. Like, okay, when I get to this level, I'll go and beg them for antidepressant, because all my friends were trying to hold me back. You can't take antidepressant. I said, no, I want this antidepressant because I'm begging God every day. Maybe God should just please delete me now, so that, and then God will remind me, you got these children, you've got your future, you've got so much strength, you've got so much going for you. See, in all of this, I started my business started to do well. I run a business in the community, and I run it from the home that I live in now, which is the second home. But I earn my living from that business. I haven't claimed any benefit ever, even since the divorce and all of that. And it was just jealousy. The last straw, he said to me, he said, what have I achieved? He said, look at you, you have achieved this, you have achieved this, you have achieved this. What have I achieved? I couldn't believe. Oh my goodness, I cried. I cannot even, let me just stop talking about crying. Okay, guys, just understand that I was just a crying human for 21 years. Okay, let's just leave it there with the crying.
Too
No, no,
big.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
It was terrible. And the last straw, his
What
mother
have I
fell ill.
achieved? He
There, he asked me that. He said, what have I achieved? Look at all
said,
you have achieved. And he
what have I
enumerated the
achieved
things.
this?
Yeah,
You
he
have
says
achieved
that.
this.
Yeah,
When you were going to do your MBA, where was he?
in the same house.
Did you tell him not to go to school?
I actually encouraged him to go.
And he said he wants to. Why did he not go?
That where will he find the money? Oh, he has to do this. He's there are bills to pay. There's that. Where is he going? Find excuses. Just didn't bother to go. Didn't bother. Didn't do it. Didn't do it. So
All right.
the
Well done. Well done.
thank you, my sis. Thank you. The last straw. In 2019,
Mhm.
his mother fell ill, and unfortunately, she's passed on. And I did suffer some abuse from his family, which I would not really go into. I don't think it's too important. It's important because it affected the home as well. It made his own abuse escalate, but it is what it is. When his mother fell ill, he said to me, first of all, he hadn't told me she was ill. And I didn't know it was a terminal illness. And then one day he said to me, oh, my mother is terminally ill, and I know that you are very happy about it. You are very happy that she's going to pass away, so that when she passes away, I can be that husband that you want me to be. I will be everywhere with you. I'll be carrying you out to dinner. I'll be carrying you to this. I will go with you to church. By the way, he had stopped going to church. He was saying, and if I don't go to church, what will you do? Because I used to encourage him to come to church. And he said, and if I don't go, then what? And then I stopped because you can't force a grown person to do what they don't want to do. And he that day that he said that thing about me being happy that his mother was going to pass away, I remember shaking. I was shaking physically. I quickly grabbed my phone and I pressed record because I wanted him to repeat it, because I could not believe that the depth of a person's mind and how warped their minds could be. And I said, could you say what you said again? This is actually a disrespect to your mom. You don't. Why are you saying this? And why would you even say that about me? Why would do you know what's in my mind? So, oh, I know what is in your tiny mind. Like I said, it's very insulting. I know the kind of mind you have, and I know what is in that your tiny mind, and so on and so forth. And
Yeah.
and eventually,
It seemed like he enjoyed.
yeah,
He always enjoyed cutting you to size with his harsh words. He enjoyed doing that.
absolutely, yes. There's so many words I haven't said because, like I said, I'm going through that healing journey to expunge those words from my mind. But there were
Mm-hmm.
a great deal of scathing words. One of them was, see, listen to this one. One of them was that you have an exaggerated opinion of yourself. To me, you have an exaggerated opinion of yourself. And I used to say, what do you really mean by that? I do not have an exaggerated opinion of myself. Then they would say things like, you think you are all that. Oh, I'm all that because I'm created in the image of God. By that time I had found my voice. I am created in the image of God. And so is every human being. Every human being on this earth is all that because we're special to God. He made us for himself, for a
Mm-hmm.
purpose. And so
Okay.
finally, yeah.
Right.
So
Now you want to
finally,
talk about, dragging you through the court system since the divorce for, sharing your assets.
yes.
Is that
And
the point
so
where you are now?
that's the point I'm at. Yes, because
Okay.
I was the one that asked for the divorce, and he just coldly said yes. That because I asked him, I said, "Will you contest it?" He said, "No." That yes, it's fine. And then I still stalled. I didn't do anything. I didn't file. I didn't do anything. I was hoping because I'd been begging for counseling forever and ever. I've been begging him to forgive me. I've been saying all these things. I've been fasting. Oh, the fasting and prayer. I just quickly want to mention that I've been fasting and
You
praying.
are
I'm
fasting
fasting
and
and
praying for him
praying.
to change, right?
Yes, yes,
According
my
to the
sis.
instruction of pastors.
Absolutely. And I
Mm-hmm.
called three different pastors throughout the 21-year period. I brought this whole thing to the attention of three different pastors, and it was the same thing. They just didn't have the tools to help at all. And it was everything will be
Because
all
they are
right.
not
Just pray and fast.
trained. Please, I cannot overemphasize it. I feel like screaming. When you have problems in your marriage, go to a therapist. Ladies, gentlemen. Nigerians are so fond of going to pastors when they have problems. Most of these pastors didn't even go to school. They are not trained. And that's why abuse is living and breathing in the church. When we do the show about how the church is enabling abusers and covering them, you will see the stories. Most of them are not trained. If you have a problem, please go to a therapist. If it's therapy you need, go to the person that have you. If you are sick, you don't go to accountant that does your books or does your accounts. When you are sick, you go to a doctor. If you need to do your tax returns, you don't go to doctor to say, doctor, Inland Revenue is calling me for tax return. Can you give me that? No, you go to your accountant. But Nigerians will like going to pastor. And most of them, the only remedy they have for you is fast and pray. You have to persevere. I'm not saying people should just, at the sight of the first problem, pack your things and run away. They will put you on fasting. You fast and pray and fast. Fast and pray does not change human behavior, especially when the person is not willing to change. They need to do the work. That's why the therapist is the right person, because the person needs to first of all know that what they are doing is causing the other person harm. And then they need to be able to do the work. In Nigeria, they will send them to go to Orioke. You know what they call Orioke? Mountain. Women will go to Orioke for months. As a matter of fact, Debbie, do you know that I read about a story of a woman last year in Nigeria? The woman got deleted in a church because she went to the church to fast and pray because her husband was cheating. In the church,
Oh,
she deleted in the church while she was fasting. She put herself on dry fasting for 7 days. I
oh
think it was the
dear.
fifth day because it's not everybody that has the strength, to do that fasting. Some people, maybe if they have medical conditions, something, it's not everybody that can do that fasting. The woman didn't wake up.
Oh dear.
Yes, that's
So
how
sad.
dangerous it is. They had to call police in that church. They arrested the pastor because the pastor told her to stay in the church and fast, dry fasting for 7 days for a philandering husband. Now, whoever that man is philandering with, he will go and marry the side chick. It will be like the lady that came here and told us her story the last time that 6 months later, the father-in-law married when the mother-in-law died. After the man used wahala to delete the wife, 6 months later, it was married. It was fate that told us that story. So if you are listening, please be wary of all this fasting and prayer. I'm a Christian. I believe in fasting and prayer. It works. But Nigerian pastors have turned around what fasting and prayer is for, and they are using it wrongly. You fast for yourself, you pray for yourself, not for another person's behavior to change. It's because you want to hear clearly from God. You want to be in tune with the Holy Spirit. Your fasting is not because of another person. It's for yourself. My goodness. I hope we will take that away. So you fasted and nothing changed.
No, and then he applied online, and within 4 months, I got an email one morning in January 2020 that you're now divorced. Decree absolute,
Mhm.
attached. And the trauma was terrible, and the grief was on another level. I cannot explain why, but it is what it is. It was just a horrible experience. And then within a short time, I knew that I needed to separate the properties. I knew it. I just knew that I needed to do that. So I approached a lawyer and I said, okay, what do I do? And the lawyer said, oh, we can do a consent order. And when she explained it, I thought, okay, this is, bear in mind, this human being had refused to go to mediation, because with mediation you can separate assets without it being cantankerous, without serious conflict.
Mhm.
He refused. So I went to this lawyer, and the lawyer said, okay, we can do a consent order. You would look at all the assets, you would agree what you want to both of you would divide it after discussion. Then I will put it down in law, terminologies and so on, and then we'll send it to the court, and the court will ratify it. So it will become a legally binding document that everybody needs to adhere to. So I thought this was a good way, and I called a meeting. I was the one that, like, so he had moved out, and then I called. I moved out before the decree absolute came in. He moved to the first house, that first house. Um, and I said, okay, please, this is a peaceful meeting. It's not an argument, and it has nothing to do with the relationship. This is more about the houses and so on. And also it's about the children. But by the way, just to quickly mention, every attempt to get maintenance failed. At first, he was doing a little bit of love bombing before the final decree absolute came. He was sending so much money. I was watching him and thinking, what are you doing? Finally, the decree absolute came, and he refused to pay maintenance, and I had to go to CS, child maintenance service, and they got him to pay, so that they're taking it, from him, compulsorily. They got him to pay some of that. But then the consent order, he refused to sign this consent order. I did everything. After a very long time, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, he finally signed the consent order. I was the one that paid a lawyer. Of course, he needed to get another lawyer to be a witness to his signature. I paid that second lawyer just to get this consent order done. He
Okay,
finally
so
signed it.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Let's not get into the full details of but I mean, I just want to, if you can summarize how things are now. You still haven't, it's still ongoing.
Yes. Finally, I had to take the case to court because the consent order process, which would have been a process that wouldn't require the judge and the courts, he sabotaged it. by not completing certain court forms. So when at the court, the first hearing happened, he did not show up. He did not attend the first hearing, and the judge found that unacceptable, and then did a court order asking him to complete the necessary form. There's a form called Form E, asking him to complete all of that and declare his assets, because in the Form E, he would have had to declare his assets. And he finally completed the forms. The process was very excruciating because there were certain aspects of it that I needed to also get involved with him. The verbal abuse went through to another level. I had to block him on email and only open the email anytime I wanted to send a document or receive a document. And then the second hearing happened. And that was not very long ago. It was a very, very terrible experience in that he played the victim. He changed his voice. It was a virtual hearing. So he changed his voice, he changed his behavior. He lied a lot. He had lied a lot on his final statement anyway, and he continued lying verbally in court. And he tried to pour contempt on me in the presence of the judge and so on. And I could see that the judge bought it. The judge was now giving him advice, and it was as though I wasn't there. At a point, even the judge said, I'm aware that she can hear us, so blah, blah, blah. And they seemed to just suddenly, because he has that skill, he has that skill to be extremely charming and to use words, kind, sweet. That's the same kind of love bombing that I fell for. So he put it on a high level in court that day. And then it got to the point where the judge then said, he was trying to get the judge to throw the case out. What can be done? The judge then said, it depends on me, the applicant. We could either throw the case out and continue the way we are, bearing in mind he's got married within a year of the divorce. And so he said he wanted to keep the house in joint names until full term. Full term is in about 10 years. And
Oh, so
10 years,
he doesn't want to sell.
no, he wants, but then he doesn't want to separate, because there's the reason why I'm in court is, let your name come off my property, let my name come off your property. So there is a separation, a legal separation. Because see, if there is no legal separation, if any one of us deletes, the
The
other
other
party
person has
automatically,
everything. Yeah, except you
yeah.
have a will.
Even with a will, I went online, I went to gov.uk, and I read that you can't will your percentage of the house to anyone, even as when it is a joint ownership thing. You cannot will your percentage of the house. So this is why you go to the legal process to get it separated.
Yeah.
And the judge then said, oh, I think that from the look of things, if I don't see evidence that you can afford your house, I'm going to ask you to, I'm going to, the judge in the final hearing could recommend that you sell. And when you sell, you have to pay 25% to the government. 25% capital gains tax.
Yeah.
25% to the
So
government.
is it selling
And
both houses that you're talking about now, or just one?
the judge was saying that it could be that both will be sold, that they will recommend that both be sold. And
That's not good.
exactly. So the point I put to the judge, honestly, I'm aghast at the level of power that the legal system has. The court seems to have so much power. I put it to the court. I said to the judge, I said, I'm paying my mortgage already. I'm not struggling to pay it. I have my business and I have income, and I'm comfortable with paying my mortgage. And the amount that is left on my mortgage is not huge sums. Would it still be a thing that the court could still render me homeless? She said yes. She said yes. And I've got my daughter here. My daughter is no longer a minor. She's an adult now, but this is her base. She's only 18. When she goes to university, this home is her base.
But the court can't
So
force you to sell.
that's what the judge was saying, that they can do so, that they have the powers to do so.
I don't
And
know.
so
Anyway, I'm going to
that
share
was
my
such.
link now. Yeah, I'm going to share my link. Carry on, because I don't know. I'm not quite clear because I'm not a lawyer. Oh my God, I wish. Um, okay, I know somebody that will know. I mean, we know people that will know that information, but I don't know how they force people to sell their property just because there's a contention in the divorce. You are divorced already. It's just sharing of the asset now. That's the thing.
Yes.
So, okay. All right. Yeah, go on.
So I'm really, really praying that I can get a barrister. I have tried to get a lawyer. The cost is phenomenal. They are quoting £10,000, £15,000, £20,000 to take the case. I'm hoping for an affordable lawyer slash barrister who can take the case. And today I was thinking, I was just thinking because I run my business. See, I run my business from this home. My business is based within my community, and I'm already known. I've run the business for 7 years now. I am I am past the midpoint in my 50s. I'm closer to my 60 to 60 than I am to 50. So for me, being rendered homeless and being forced to lose my business thereby is extremely unacceptable. And I know about the Matrimonial Causes Act of 1973, Section 25. I've read about it. It says that in my case that my 21-year contribution is significant, and I've been a major financial and emotional contributor to my home. And so I should be allowed to live in a manner that I'm accustomed. So, and also my health. I never went down the hill. I didn't have time to talk about my health. I suffer from very severe high blood pressure now, and the stress aspect, the depression aspect, and all of that is something that I'm managing as well. So losing my home will have a it
Okay,
is well.
yeah, of course, that will be very, 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 it will have a huge impact. I'm sure you can make a case out of it. So, thank you very much, Sister Debbie, for sharing your story. If there's something you wanted to add before we start taking calls, you wanted to say something from your experience advising people who are listening, especially women who are, of that age bracket going forward.
Yes. So I just wanted to say to ladies particularly, we are fearfully and wonderfully made by God. We are very special, and we have compassion for all human beings. We are the people that make our children. We support them. We're all of that to them. Please, you have to guard your own emotions, and you cannot stay in an emotionally abusive marriage, because in our culture we are told "Kò ṣáà gbá ẹ létí." That means he didn't slap you. You don't have a black eye. Kí ló dé tó yẹn, you are just getting over the top. I'd like to say to ladies who are thinking like this, think about my story. You are worth more than all the gold, the silver, the diamond, and all of the planets on this on in this in the in the world. You are important because your children need you. And since the divorce, since 2 years, I have had so much peace from God. After the initial 1 year of crying nonstop and feeling depressed and so on, I have peace from God. I have joy. I have I have joy. And can I please say that financially, I was so scared that I would not make it. I was so scared that by now I was going to claim benefits. I would like to say to you, I have not claimed benefit for 1 second, because God has provided. He just caused my business. It will show me in my business, this is what you need to do next. This is how you need to do it. This is what you need to do to position this and that and the other thing. And my business just kept on growing by word of mouth. And I'm not saying that I've been lazy. So that aspect is important, that you do due diligence, but
Mhm.
don't think you are too old to leave an abusive man. I was the one that asked this man for a divorce. He eventually was the one that did it. But if I hadn't asked, he might have just kept me, stringing me along to own property, to own this, to and all of the domestic help that had become. And the children also, they are important. They must not be kept in abuse, because it does damage them. So I want to encourage, if you are in abuse, do not stay. Do not think, I'm now in my 50s, I've married for 20 something years. Oh my goodness, what would the who thinks about the world? I had to block out the world because they were condemning me all the time. I had to block people off my radar, and I came out of that community. That Nigerian, the negative. I'm sure there are wonderful Nigerian people and other Africans and all the, but the community I was in, there was a great, and a lot of them are Christians. A great deal of condemnation. I was thinking, what is this? Read your Bible. Jesus Christ was kind, even to the woman at the well. The woman at the well had 7 men. And did she want it? Which woman would get up and say, I want to be divorced? No normal woman, none. So I want to encourage you. If you're later in life like me, don't sit there and think, I've borne it for 20 years, let me continue to bear
Let
it.
me
You
continue.
don't know when the last straw will happen to your health. or
Mm.
your psyche. I have a friend who's a consultant psychiatrist. She said to me that 80% of our customers, not customers, sorry, patients,
Clients, yeah.
80% of them,
Service,
yeah,
yeah, service users. They are black.
they are, yeah, and they are from broken, they came because their marriage or their relationship with a man, they had a nervous breakdown because of their relationship with a man. Please don't do.
Okay.
I want to encourage you, please. Thank you so much,
Thank
sis.
you.
Appreciate
Thank you so
everything.
much,
Thank you.
Sister Debbie. You did so well. Well done. Well done. You did so well. I mean,
Thank you.
I say it all the time that, part of our healing is sharing our pain. And the reason why it's so important that we hear from the horse's mouth on this platform is that you will not believe it. There are so many people listening to you out there. This will be their story as well. They have
Mm.
similar experiences, and whatever we are able to discuss tonight will also help them, because not everybody has the courage to come forward. So I want to really, really congratulate you, first of all, for having the courage,
Thank you.
to ask for that divorce when you did, even though you stayed too long, but still you did it in the end. 21 years is a long time of enduring, because this abuse even started before you even got into the marriage. But still, I thank God for
Yes.
the grace and the strength that He gave you to be able to move on after 21 years. And I also thank God that you are doing the work, on yourself, and your children are also, in their own healing journey. I pray that your healing will be permanent in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
And I also pray that, you know,
Amen.
as you've, boldly spoken of your truth tonight, that, there will be a resolution to this by the grace of God. Uh,
Amen.
I completely forgot that I did, yeah, my link is in the comment section. If you have any legal knowledge, experience in the UK, how the court system work, I completely forgot that Esther is she actually, property. She does property. She's a solicitor, and I completely forgot. Isn't how funny? I forgot, but I did speak to a few friends of mine who are, one is a barrister, one is a lawyer, solicitor, and hopefully, we can get you some advice on the way to go forward. I'm a bit curious. I don't know why he wants them to come full time. Is it that he wants the mortgage to be completed so that he will now take the lump sum and relocate to Nigeria? Is his new wife in Nigeria or what?
It's quite possible that he wants that control, because that control has been a very important thing to him. I mean, at a point in the so-called marriage, he said, "Oh, I own you. I own all of you." So he likes that control. Secondly, he could decide to sell, because imagine owning jointly with someone, and nobody else is aware of that. You could just get up one day and I just find papers through my post that this house has now been sold or something. So who knows? And thirdly, that no new wife would know that her husband owns properties, and she would just be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
She'll be
Mm-hmm.
egging him along, and she would want a share because she
Mm-hmm.
has rights. She's the
Yeah.
legal wife now. She's got matrimonial. There's something I read about matrimonial rights. Who knows if she can register? She might be allowed to register matrimonial rights against my home and the other home. So it's so important that
Yeah.
the whole thing gets separated. But I think he
Mm-hmm.
wants to use me. Maybe he doesn't think he can get mortgage on his own
Mm-hmm.
for the house. I don't know. Maybe he just wants to use me to try to get the house or something. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah. So if you just want to encourage Debbie, you just want to encourage her, say something to her also, you can come into the comments, you can come into the studio. The link is in the comment section. A lot of people are still asking, people who are new, how do you join? I just post the link in the comment section. If you're using your tablet, your phone, you can see it. Just come in and please come and encourage our sister. Fola, you are here. Your camera is on. Do you want a face to be seen? Or do you want to turn your camera off? Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, your camera is off. I can bring you in. You're welcome, Fola.
So this is Auntie B.
Mhm.
I think my camera is on back.
Your camera is back on. The camera doesn't want you to hide. Let me just cover your face then. Okay, go ahead. You're welcome. Where are you joining us from? Hello, Fola. Can you hear me? Fola, can you hear me? Rao say, don't worry, sis. He doesn't have the right to sell the house without you. No, he can't sell the houses without you. There's no way he can sell it without you, since your name is there. Nobody's going to buy a house that both parties are not aware of. No, it's not possible. So that's not even a case. Knowing he's an equal ownership, even if he tries, it will fail. That's definitely correct. That is correct. Fala, can you hear me? I'm not hearing you again. So I've just confirmed that actually the court can order you to sell. I've just checked that now. That they can order you to sell. And Mr. OU says in America, a court can order that a property be sold when the parties cannot agree on matters relating to the property. Yeah, I've just confirmed that. All right, Fola, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Auntie B, thank you so much for all you do. Uh, I'm a first caller to the show, and
Thank you.
I've been following your program for long. And I want to say to Auntie Sisters Debbie, you are a strong woman, and God will continue to strengthen you.
Amen.
And all the story I can relate. And you just mentioned about selling of the property. I was about to tell you the same thing, that because both names are on the property, so the court can order them to sell the property, except the property carries the name of the woman alone. Then the equity can be shared, and the woman can choose to retain the house. But because both names are on the property, on the deed, so the court can order them to sell the property. And for the kids, it's so sad that the kids brought into this kind of home suffer a lot. And I would tell Sister Debbie not to. It's good to apologize that the kids suffered, whatever they suffered from this relationship, from this marriage, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not your fault. It's not your fault because you never bargained for this as well. It's not your
Mm-hmm.
fault, neither the children's fault. The abuser is the one to be whole responsible, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate that they don't want to take responsibility for their own nonchalant attitude, and it's just so sad.
Somebody is saying, Debbie, somebody is saying, make a will. Do you have a will? If you don't, please make a will and name your children as the
The
executors of your
beneficiary,
estate. That's what someone in the comment section is saying. Very, very important.
absolutely, absolutely.
I
So
appreciate your
that's what I'm going to
contribution.
tell and Sister Debbie. God will continue to strengthen you and all the women out
Amen.
there in an abusive relationship. Please leave, leave. I said in the comment section that I can. It's not surprising that she has
Okay.
blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
It's not surprising. It's unfortunately that the victims go through all these medical problems and the abuser never did. They don't have any problem. They don't have medical problem. It's the victims that always suffered from depression, anxiety, blood pressure, heart problem, name it. It's just unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you so much, Fola. I appreciate your call. Even though it was kind of epileptic there, but thank you. Please call again. Nii, you are next. You're welcome. Hello, Nii. Can you hear me? Nii? Okay, I'm moving to realities. Unmute yourself, realities around you.
Hello, good afternoon, Auntie B.
You're welcome.
Good
How are
afternoon,
you?
everyone.
It's been a minute.
Yes, Auntie B. I thank
the,
God.
the
Yeah,
courageous, strong woman. You're
Auntie B,
welcome.
I bless God. God is faithful.
We thank
Wow.
God. Mm.
Yeah, Auntie B, my contribution to Sister Debbie. First of all, I want to thank God for her life, for sparing her life all through it, and encourage her and tell her that that God has kept her alive till this time will make everything come true. When it
Amen.
comes to the contribution, just like we've always discussed about these people who have this personality traits, they are very vindictive. And for the house, I know she must have spent a lot. And knowing from other people's experience, when one is in an abusive relationship with a narcissist, the best thing is to stay away from where they know the person, the location where they know the person. Yes, she said she has been in business and her business has been there for 7 years. It's going to be a very painful step, but to me, I advise that if the judge has given that order that the house can be sold, I believe maybe the judge might not want to tell her outright, like maybe there is danger behind your staying back in the house. That's why the judge is also telling them according to the decree, because especially when someone is going through abuse.
Mm,
So a lot of them know what is going on now. So many of the judges know that this kind of a thing can bring problem in the future,
They
and
don't
that
live in the
that
same
is
house. And
yes,
I mean, I'm finding out now from all my friends that yeah, they can order you if they cannot agree, the court can order you to sell. So that's
yes.
established now. Yeah.
Okay, like
Mm,
as it is now, the best thing is for her to agree. Let her not feel the pain. Yes, she has gone through the pain already, and this next one should not be. Let her put it in her heart not to get hurt. Prepare yourself for that one. When she prepare her heart, there's definitely God has been opening door for her. She will get through it and
amen.
get a better thing, because number one is that the danger of still occupying a space where the narcissists know you is very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
It is very, very dangerous. Nobody wants to be deleted, and
Mm.
no- there's every tendency the narcissists don't let their victims go.
Yeah, but I don't think he was. I'm not saying that we should rule out the
Okay.
possibility of the
Okay.
danger, but he wasn't physical with her. According to
Yes,
what
Auntie B.
Debbie said, it was all emotional
Yes,
and
Auntie B.
financial. Yeah.
Just like as I commented earlier, they are not physical. Not all narcissists are physical, but all narcissists have the same tendency. Like when it comes to their victims, to do away with their victims, they do it, whether they are physical or not. They mustn't be physical because number one, they want people. Why most of them are not physical is they just want to put it out there that you know to put it out there, especially to people who trust them to become. I mean, to be gentle, to look as if they are gentle. They disguise themselves. Not that he never had intention to hit her, but he doesn't want to portray it because number one, maybe the children were watching, or the children could witness to that. Maybe that is why he didn't, or even when the children were small, he didn't want to bring that aspect out. But no, he has it, but he decided not to use that. So
Mm.
it doesn't mean that he cannot go after her,
Mm.
but God forbid for the
God
other
will not
one.
allow it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
God will
Thank
not
you
allow you,
so
just
much.
for her to
Mm.
to just
To
take
protect
caution.
herself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
protest myself. Thank you, Auntie B.
Yeah. Thank you so much,
All
Sister
right, thank you.
Jessica. God
All right,
bless you.
thank you, man.
Right. And this is I've been waiting for you. Connoisseur, you're welcome. Kitchen
Hi,
connoisseur.
hi, Sis Bridget. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you for having me.
Right.
Um, what it's a sad story once again. You do know how to bring the big ones. You're always, landing the very big ones that are quite thought provoking. I think our sister is so brave to have gotten herself out of the situation. But one of the things that I would say there were multiple mistakes that were made. And I'm sure our sisters thought about those mistakes, particularly trying to get the houses together. Now, I've heard about the legal situation. I'm not a family lawyer, I'm a criminal lawyer, but I will just give you general. I'll just give my thoughts in general. The first thing that I think was very apparent was that you, as the sister before previously said, you are dealing with a narcissist, and he will play with your emotions. He knows his game. He went to court and he's turned a simple thing that could be resolved. A consent order is supposed to be something simple that nobody sweats over. But he was able to manipulate everybody in that situation. So you need to go to court with your A game. And one of the things that you need to do is you need to have clear proof of what you did during the marital relationship. For instance, I mean, I was a bit sad to hear that he contributed to the mortgage, because if
Yeah,
he hadn't, it would
yeah,
have
he
been
did.
slam dunk.
Mm.
So
I
the
mean,
best,
let's just quickly find out, Debbie, is he still paying the mortgage for the other house, or are you paying for one now, or is he paying for both?
No, he's paying for the house that he's living in, which is the first house that was bought. And since the divorce, since he moved out, I started to pay fully for this house, the second house.
So he's living in the first house now, and you are living in the second house.
Yes.
So you want him to take that one while you take the one where you are living now.
Yes, that's correct.
It's very, very simple. Is he contesting that?
I think that Connoisseur put it perfectly. I think it's that emotional torture that he's enjoying, and also that control. He just wants to keep me where he can. I know where you are. I know what you're doing. You can't move out of the house. You can't sell without me. You can't do anything without me. My name is on that property. That control thing. I think that's what
okay.
it is.
Sorry, while you are still on, can I ask, are you still communicating?
I had to block him because of the impact of his very terrible words on me. On email, I have his email address, I have his phone number, but I had to block him. But if I need to send a legal document, I would just send it, open up the email, send it, and block him again.
Okay. So I think I can answer that, because that is key to what I'm going to say. I did say earlier on that I don't know if you've heard of a term called controlling and coercive behavior, because that alone could be a single gateway to trying to work on this. There is a new charge that was brought in a few years ago called controlling and coercive behavior. And that is a code of conduct, or a system of conduct over a period of time, where somebody controls you, controls your money, controls your assets, and controls everything that you have. And that is a big imprisonable offense. And all you need is you need to have evidence to prove that that is what he's been doing. And this evidence can be in the form of statements, of communication he's had, your own testimony. If your daughters are willing, your children are willing to give statements, any family members are willing to give statements, anything you have, the minimum sentence for that is 5 years. And and then, have you ever tried to get a non-molestation order against him?
No, I haven't done that.
Okay. So it's trying to get all that information. If you've got that, I mean, you don't have to have all of it. It's just to prove that there's been an element of control. And then if you start those proceedings, you also can, in the meantime, make sure that you go back to your statements, indicate that you are the one who secured the properties. So all your transfers to pay for the deposit, all your transfers to support the family, if you paid the electricity, you paid all the bills, and maybe if all he did was just to pay for the mortgage, then you can demonstrate that you really helped the family out in a big way. Maybe your contribution was 75 to 30, 75 to 25%. That way, the judge has to listen to you. It's more than him just getting there, changing his voice. You have to go with clear evidence, hard
Thank you so
evidence to
much.
the court. Make sure that you gather that information. You can go back to your banks and ask for statements dating back to 20 something years. Explain to them what is going on. And equally, you then say to the court, this man has tried to control me. This is his means of controlling me. I've done everything to his bidding. for the past few years, and this is what he's doing. But you
Is
have
that,
to show.
may I ask, Kitchen Connoisseur, is there a way to get some legal support without,
Yeah,
when you're not
this,
qualified for legal aid in the UK?
yes. So these were the things that I was going to say. I think
Mm-hmm.
first of all, there was something that was said, I don't know who said it, that he's not physical. Being physical is not the only way that defines abuse. Domestic abuse was redefined a few years ago. And emotional and domestic abuse involves emotional behavior. It includes physical, emotional, psychological, social harm, stopping you from seeing your friends, taking your money, abusing you verbally is enough. So the main thing we need to demonstrate here is that you have been paying for all the bills. And then the next thing you need to do is you need to contact what is called the Pro Bono, it's called the National Pro Bono Center. That is a center where you can get free legal advice.
Oh,
Are you listening?
excellent. Thank you.
And
Yes.
possibly it's a center where solicitors and barristers offer free advice and they can offer free services. Every year, we all have to give some level of free service, and people do this as a way of improving their careers and doing other things. So you will definitely get help. Go with your story, but your story will be stronger if you are just a straight person who's going there saying he's taking the house. You own a business, you seem like a woman who's put together. That's why I said angle towards the domestic abuse element, because he's going to play abused. He's going to play at being abused. So you go stronger. You have more evidence, because you're not going to win with this man. He was persuading a female judge to be on his side. And if anyone knows family courts are normally pro-women.
Yeah.
A female judge to turn around is because he's going to play that. And then the other thing I was
And sorry, Kitchen Connoisseur, and I don't think. Let me just ask quickly, Debbie, did you bring up the issue of this emotional abuse that you endured during the divorce? Did you bring it in at all?
No, I only brought it in at the beginning when when they asked if if we've done mediation, because that was the first step before the case could start. And I said the mediation was not possible because he was an abusive person emotionally and psychologically. But on the day of the hearing that I attended, the second hearing, he started to lie and change his voice, and what I found was that I froze. I became this person, like somebody poured cold water all over me, and that's why I know, sis, I
Did
need
you
a
have any
barrister.
representation that day?
No,
Okay.
I couldn't afford one. Yeah,
I'm just
but
thinking. I mean, Kitchen Connoisseur, you can correct me. I'm not the barrister here. About the fact that the court needs to know the background of this marriage, why the marriage even ended. Because I don't think she's even, she's even expressed the domestic DV that she experienced in the marriage at all. So it just seems like they've divorced and now they are trying to share the
yeah.
assets.
Exactly. That is why I was angling on her, making sure that she's also opening these other charges, because this case is not just a straightforward divorce case. The problem, my sister, is that if you just go and say to the court, we want to split the property, you seem like a woman who's got it together. You're running your own business. Even the pro bono lawyers are going to say, well, you've got a business, you can pay for it. We want to help
Exactly.
those people who are in
Exactly.
need. That's why I said, I started talking about the emotional abuse. I started talking about the coercive and controlling behavior. If you go there as a victim, because he's already played the victim before you.
Yes.
And you know what? Believe it or not, if you play the victim, you will be seen as the strong woman who's always had the money, who's always had the business. You've always controlled him. They will sell the house in his favor.
What was the grounds for the divorce, Debbie?
oh, the grounds. Sorry, for the divorce. He put it there that he was very unhappy in the marriage and that I was controlling. So he turned the
You
tables
see,
on me.
this is what
He's
I'm
more
talking
prepared
about.
than you. Oh my goodness.
Sorry, D.
He's not
You
prepared.
said,
He seems to know he's playing the system already.
all right, this is what I was talking. Remember, the first thing I spoke about was the controlling and coercive behavior, because I read into this that this guy is going to win. And believe me, that is a very strong card these days. So what you need to do is go to a police station and say, I have been in a controlling and coercive. This is what you say.
But the marriage is over. How's she going to go to the police
It
station now?
doesn't
They are
matter
divorced.
because he's still carrying on. It's not normally between people who are in a marriage, even in an ex-partner, with an ex-partner. If you can demonstrate that you were in that relationship and he's still carrying on. You remember I asked her whether he's still carrying on, and she said she's even blocked him on email because they've been unable to communicate. You've got a lot of evidence, even from what you've said. The fact that he refused to participate in mediation, the fact that's his way of controlling. The fact that he delayed with the forms, the fact that he didn't want to do so many things that you wanted to do. Once you get into, when you go to the police station and report, you'll be allocated what is called an independent domestic advisor, independent domestic abuse advisor. They're called IDVAs. That person will sit down with you, get all the information, and when you go to court, you don't go to court on your own. Go with your IDVA. And your IDVA will get there and be your crutch and say, I'm the IDVA, I'm supporting her because she's been in an abusive relationship. And every family court judge will sit up and think, oh my God, there's an IDVA here. So
Right.
this man has done his homework, he's thought it through, he's playing the domestic abuse card. You can play it better because you are the one subject to abuse, but you need to be careful. You need to make sure you sit down and you do your homework properly, because he will win hands down. Because even in your statement, your divorce, he's already declared that is abused.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, he did.
he's declared that is abused. You were
And
controlling.
did you just
And he
allow
didn't
that? You
contest
didn't
it.
challenge it because you wanted the divorce?
I responded and said that I didn't agree with anything that he had said, but I let the divorce go through. But I just put a statement there that I did not agree with the accusations. He said I was controlling. He said that I was unhappy, and that I did not support him in his business that he was trying to do. I couldn't believe it.
So you
Believe
didn't
it.
tell them about any of your abusers at all
No,
during the
because
divorce?
No,
because
I
it was
think that's where the problem is. That's where, because what happens is whoever is looking at the case then goes back and looks at this, and you have not in any way indicated that you were, this horrendous story you've told us, nobody knows it. So you need to be coming out and making sure that this story is known, because this man will get a lot. What he will do is he will frustrate you so much. You've got PTSD. He will frustrate you so much that you lose your mind.
I don't know how.
And
I mean,
when you lose
yeah.
your mind, he then says this woman doesn't have capacity over the properties. That's why he doesn't want to let go. If he then feels you don't have capacity
He
over
had
the
lawyer friends
properties,
and was
he
getting
will
legal
take
advice
over.
on the side. He knew exactly what to do.
Yeah.
He was more prepared than you, I'm afraid.
Mm.
He was definitely more tactical and more prepared. He knew the right thing. And that's exactly why he went to court and changed his voice and started acting as the victim. Because the lawyer is a woman. Oh, she's the one that has the money. She's the one that has the business, like you said. Kitchen connoisseur. So is there any way that this can be reversed? Because it seems like this is all documented now against her.
The only way is for her to, I think, I mean, I'm not your lawyer here, but from what I see is, I think you need to go and report the controlling and coercive behavior, go and sit down with the police officer, say whatever your issues are, articulate. What I would say to you is, write everything down before you go there and be able to tell them chronologically, have evidence, and let them open a case. And then after that, take a non-molestation order against him to say, don't contact me directly or indirectly, serve through the family courts.
Okay, thank you
And
so
then
much, Kitty
you've
Connoisseur.
got that information to start, and that's your background to go and say, this man has been abusing me, I've been afraid to talk, and this man is abusing me, right down to taking everything I've worked hard for. I think that's
Okay.
all I have. Unless there was anything else you wanted me to say,
I will
Bridget.
definitely talk to you again later, but yeah, in
Okay.
private. Thank you so much, my sister.
Thank
I
you. Thank
appreciate
you. Bye
you.
bye.
God
God
Thank
bless
bless
you.
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 Thank you
Bye.
Yeah.
very much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So we've got someone in the house who had a similar experience. So we want to hear from Rao.
Hello, Auntie V. Good evening.
Hello, sweetie. You're welcome.
I'm just going to dive right in. So, like, what she has said is very much similar to what I went through. I think that's the reason why I have a little bit of knowledge of or insights on about what's going on. That's why I've been typing in the session. So there are so many things. Just in case, I mean, you didn't know. I'm a lawyer, but Nigerian lawyer. But so maybe I went through my own divorce as well. But I understand or I understand a lot of their processes, and having gone through it gave me much more insights as to how things work here. So there's a notion, first of all, I'll start with, there's a notion of them saying you get a 50-50 chance in divorce once you are married. That's really not true. Here in this country, it's by percentage. So the court needs to see, the court wants to be fair, and they need to see how much you have contributed to the marriage. So it depends on what you get in is what you get out, if that makes sense. You can't contribute 75% and expect to get a 50% share. It doesn't work that way. Now, going back again to her case, I had, an ex who also went to court quickly to say, oh, I was controlling, and he said all of those things. And so he said the marriage wasn't working out, and then, I was the abusive one. So he sent that, and then they served me the papers. I did call divorce cases to say, this is what I've gotten. These are a bunch of lies. What do I do? And they advised me, whoever I spoke to advised me and said, you know what, write a statement explaining in detail what you went through and countering what he has said. But the advantage you have now is that it's only the judge that will be seeing this, not him. He won't be served this. So what I did was I wrote a 4-page statement detailing my abuse and everything that happened, and I served it to the judge. So the judge had read through my statement, and I had already made a decision already. You could see from my statement that he was indeed the one being abused. He was the abuser, not me. So that gave me a heads up. Then there's one
So
thing I
you
want
wrote
to
to the court
mention.
directly. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I did. Yes, I wrote to the court directly. My four page. In fact, he didn't even have any privy to it. During the hearing, he just said, Rao, you wrote a 4-page statement. Is that correct? I said yes. And he said, I've had a read through it, very lengthy and detailed, so I understand your position. He was looking lost because he didn't understand what was going on. But it gave me a chance because I thought I had been cheated, and he was saying, he had made false accusations, and I just wasn't having it because it wasn't right. So I called, I got that information. So I think one thing I want to say here is always make sure you make a lot of calls. I know you're reading from the government website. Call divorce cases, call legal aid, go to citizens advice. Get as much information. Information is power. Trust me. Get as much as you can get before making a decision. Because we are dealing with people like this, they are trying to frustrate you. But once you have the information, you can always play them, beat them to their game. So it's not too late to write your statement, even as it is now. Write your statement, detailing it, and still submit it to court. Even though you didn't do it the first time, that's fine, but still go ahead to do it. With my own experience, I was told that unfortunately, domestic abuse doesn't count when it comes to divorce. That's the sad truth. So it has to be a case of domestic violence, and there has to be evidence. So the evidence they're looking for is police reports detailing that there was actual battering. If you have that, then that's hands down defeat for him.
Are you saying that that's emotional abuse? Emotional abuse is DV as well.
No, it's not. Unfortunately,
It is now.
They still no, because my own divorce it happened as at January this year, and as at January this year, that was what I was told. That unfortunately, domestic abuse does not count as domestic violence. Unfortunately, you can't. I mean, you can go ahead to give it a chance, but you won't go far.
To include emotional abuse.
Yeah, that's what I was told. Unfortunately, they need it to be. Sorry, say again. Hello.
And there are pictures, except there's battery involved.
Yes, they need it. It needs to be violence, and they need to see succinct evidence. So for instance, police reports. That's the only way you can get a head through, with it. Then one thing again I want you to strongly consider is, we need to sit back and think properly about this thing, because this is a big thing. With narcissists, they wouldn't want to let go. So you need to really sit down and have a think. Is this something you want to pursue? Because this will drain you emotionally and financially. Think about it. Is it easier for you to sell up these houses, get your money, and get a new house and start again? Or do you want to go through this lengthy, long process? Because once you start, you can't go back. Once you start, you have to see it through. Is it worth it going through this lengthy process, and then you get the money, and then you end up paying legal fees with the money, and then you are now back in debt, worse off than how you were before you started?
So, what about the part where she was saying that the court was saying that, they are going to pay 25% to the government as, is that taxes, or what is that for? Did that happen to you?
No, that didn't happen to me, because
I didn't worried about that. If they have to sell, she might not get enough money, to even think of buying another house.
But the thing is that if you don't sell, you are getting yourself deeper into legal fees. For someone that doesn't want to let go and is not trying to come to a consensus with you in terms of let's come to an agreement early enough, he is willing to push boundaries and fight with you. The 25% will probably pay off than being in debt. If you pay 25% to be from the money you get of the proceeds of the mortgage. Exactly, yes, and not your own personal money, because you are working, you're still working, right? And you can start all over again. You did it before, you can do it again. But if you go ahead with this process, this lengthy process, to get yourself into debt, a lot of people don't know this. They think, they look at the money and then they want the money. They see what is in stock for them. But the thing is, you've forgotten that there's legal fees attached. Especially when you're dealing with narcissists, they don't want to let go.
Yeah, you're making sense,
right? They don't want to let go. So you find yourself, you think you end this in 6 months, but 7 years, they're still there. I know a case of a woman, 7 years, a narcissist, she's still there. The man doesn't want, he wants to punish her. He wants to feel like he's in control. 7 years. And guess what? She's working, but she's in serious debt. What they are fighting over now, that money has long expired.
Rao, can you put your YouTube off? It's echoing in the background because you are making too much sense for there to be any distraction.
I don't even have my YouTube on. Funny enough, it's just my phone.
Okay, there's some noise in the background. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a good thing. That Debbie needs to take into consideration.
Yeah.
Maybe she just allow.
About it. You need to think about it. Think about it.
Pray about it. Talk to your children.
Yes.
Starting all over again is not such a bad idea.
It's not such a bad thing.
If you have a huge deposit, you can buy a house.
Absolutely. You can always start again. But the thing is, if you want to start again on a plain ground without any debt. Because once you have debt, backlog of the legal fees you will pay, the lawyers will collect their money. And every time you go to court, you are paying thousands of pounds. So think about it. Make a list. Sit down, make a list, draw a table, and weigh your options. What do you think if I go down this route? What is the end game for me? If I go all these police reports you're going to get and all these things, they cost money. Applications to court, they cost money. You pay barrister her money, you pay solicitor her money separately. You pay the judge their own legal, the court to take their own legal fees separately. So make a tabular form on a piece of paper, look at the cost, call people, get advice. You can even call your lawyers and get a quotation. How much does it cost each hearing to go to court? What's the cost? Solicitor's fees, what's the cost? Each time I have to go to court. Put it aside. Now, if I decide to go do his bidding. But then you are free. Once you are done, you are done. Is it worth the emotional stress, the financial stress as well? It's not worth it. The earlier this ends, the sooner it is. He thinks he's winning and he's in control. But what he doesn't know is that you're looking at the end game of it. You are freeing yourself earlier from this whole situation. Because these people, these narcissists, they will tie you down for years. You think you are fighting them off and you are the stronger one. By the time 7 years on, you are asking yourself again, is it all worth it? And at that point, it's too late. You can't go back again. The judge, at that point, you can't say you want to go back again to make a sale. Okay, I've now agreed to a sale. When you start the process already, it doesn't work that way. So just have a think. It's just food for thought.
So, your own, that letter you wrote, I'm particularly very interested in that letter you say you wrote to the judge.
Yes.
It made a difference, you said.
Yes. Because I feel like, obviously what happened was, I'm not saying I didn't have, a part to play in it in terms of, enabling him. In one way or the other, I definitely did enable him, but I just felt that I wasn't being heard, and I thought I was being cheated of my voice wasn't heard, so I just wasn't having it. So what I did was to call divorce cases, and I said, see, this is what is going on. But because he was the one that filed first now, so now he has now tendered his own statement. What are my own statements? Because I've not said anything, and nobody knows what I went through. And then I was advised, he said, don't worry, it's not too late. Write your statement. Attach your evidences, because court goes with evidence. I had he abused me financially. I put all of them. My bank statements were showing I was paying him all of the money. So I had all of those things put there. I had medical advice to show, medical reports to show that the moment I left the abuse, the sickness, the bedridden sickness disappeared within weeks. You know, so I had all of that. That was resolved. So I had all of those evidences with me. I attached everything and detailed my 4-page statement and submitted it to court. That's what I did. So at that point, they didn't even send it back to him to share it with him. He didn't even know. So by the time the judge read my statement, you could just see that the judge was on my side from the get-go, because I brought my points out, and I just had to be heard. So it's not too late to write to court. If you need to write to court for the court to know, if you didn't do it the first time, that's fine. You can still do it again.
So at least they will be fair, even if she decides to sell.
They will know what happened.
So because it feels like, what is really hurting me in this whole situation now is that she is the victim, and they're not making her like this. She's the perpetrator. You see?
Yeah, because she hasn't written her statement.
It's so unfair.
Yeah, because nobody knows what she's gone through. You need to write the detailed explanation of what has gone through. But my own fear now is that, domestic abuse is not enough to justify you when it comes to financials. That's the problem. It can help with child arrangements, but not necessarily when it comes to financials. Is what you give in is what you get. The only thing that can change the narrative is domestic violence. So that's the only
what
thing.
You give in is what you get. Yeah,
absolutely, yes. It's by percentage, except for domestic violence.
Right. Thank you so much, Ralph.
Sorry, I was going to
giving us
something.
A lot
the issue also of somebody coming to get matrimonial rights, that can't happen. Just forget it now, because the property was bought during a previous marriage. So it's like me getting married to somebody who is already established and has his own property before he met me. I can't claim that. The only right I have to whatever he owns or percentage in terms of what he owns is only if he bought his property or whatever he has assets during the marriage. In as long as it's outside of the marriage, before the marriage, it doesn't count. If that makes sense. So, your mind needs to be at rest. Yeah, nobody can come in and share, lay any claim or matrimonial rights on anything. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you so much,
right.
Ralph.
Thank you.
I hope your own will end now, at least, so that you get what you deserve.
Actually.
It's ended. You got all your properties now and your money and everything. For you and your children, you are a rich woman. You need to take me out.
Rich woman.
Thank you, my darling.
That's a story for another day, but okay.
I appreciate you. When you settle down, then you come and tell us this your story. This your story has been long. It's been long. You were waiting. Now that
long overdue.
I need to hear your story, Ralph, because your story is incredible. Thank you, my darling.
No problem.
I appreciate you. Yeah. So you see why I'm leaning more towards what Ralph said, Sister Debbie. A friend of mine who's a solicitor, you guys saw, if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my phone, I'm chatting with her. She's agreeing with a lot of the things that Rao said, because she said that she actually knows somebody who's been divorced since 2015 and they are still dragging property till today. Till today, it's still on. The fight to share the portfolio is still on. So, it is draining. Nobody wants to go through that. My goodness. And please, may I remind you again, Debbie, Sister Debbie, please go and get a will now. Please, don't wait. Don't wait till when we resolve it. You need to get your will now. Please. Very, very important. Will everything to your daughters or whoever you want to will it to. But you need to get your will now. Very important, please. Kitchen connoisseur, you're back.
Yes, I am.
Okay, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I just wanted to say I prosecute domestic abuse cases every single day. And I think the sister who spoke had a lot of information, but there's one thing that I must correct. There is a new definition. I don't know who told her that, but the definition, and Bree, this being a social worker.
That's what I was saying, because in social work, we know now that it includes that, but she's saying that, you see what she's saying? She's saying that when it comes to sharing the finance, the money, the houses now, it's not going to hold water.
No, but if kicking, let me tell you, why would it not hold water? Let me tell you, domestic abuse includes coercive control, a pattern of intimidation, degradation, isolation, control, or with the use or threat of physical or sexual violence, psychological and emotional abuse, physical or sexual abuse, financial or economic abuse, harassment, and stalking.
Can you
There is,
use that for settlement when it comes to assets
yes,
after a divorce?
if you can use physical, there is no weighting. You don't weight them differently in terms of,
Okay. Okay.
it's physical abuse is worse than emotional abuse. There's no weighting. They are all
Okay.
abuse, full stop. What
Okay.
I was saying, I mean, I do agree. She's gone through the process. I do agree that she may want to cut her losses and basically say, I'm selling. The problem with this is that her husband is a very complex individual. If she decides let's sell and he doesn't want to sell, the problem will be that he knows that she was the one who initiated the buying. He may not be able to buy the property by himself. He
He
may
doesn't
not
want to
have
sell
the
according to what she told us before. That
exactly.
he wants the mortgage to get to the full term.
He wants the status quo. You know why he wants the status quo? Because he can't do what she did. He can't on his own go and then buy a property. It's easy to say, let's sell when both parties can. It's the easiest when you take your
When they
money, you
agree.
go your way,
Mm,
and then
mm,
I will buy. This sister can
mm.
buy. She's already bought 2 houses. She can buy a house. Is this man capable of buying a house? That's why he wants the status quo.
If not
And
that, people just like wahala. There are 2 houses. You are in one with your new wife already. I'm in the other one. Why don't you just take it and everybody move on? Even if it's for the sake of the children that we have together. Why people like wahala?
mhm.
Why?
So the thing is, what's her name? She knows herself whether this man will sell or not. He wants the status quo. He wants it to remain as it is. And then the other thing that I was going to say as well is that I think in terms of there is no one who pays for a police report. Police reports are free. And even if she's going to write a statement, if she writes a statement alongside a police report, it gives her evidence greater weight.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt her to just go to a police and do that. And she can do best by, once she gets to the police, they'll allocate an IDVAT for her. That
Okay.
IDVAT can go to court with her.
Yeah,
And
we
she can
can.
get,
Yeah, you can definitely still explore that. It's not too late. I don't
it's
think it's
not
too
too
late,
late. It's not
especially if the
too late.
abuse is continuing. Maybe this is the
Yeah,
time to unblock him, Debbie,
yes.
so that if he keeps sending you rubbish, that's some evidence for you.
And the other thing is here, it's not just the property issue. There is the property of this controlling behavior, the abuse. Is it going to stop once the house is sold?
Yes, it will be. It will end because she will not have any contact with him anymore. She will move on once they have their financial settlement. Everybody goes their own way.
The children are still there. You know,
They are
these people
they
are
are
going
adult
to go,
children. No, they are adult children.
or they're adult
They
children.
are adult.
Okay,
No, it's not babies.
well,
Yeah, no.
but what
Mm,
I would say is she just needs to make sure that she gets
mm.
as much support as she can before
Yeah.
she goes to court.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. She's listening. She's taking notes, I'm sure. Um, thank you so much, Kitchen Corner. So I'm just gonna move on quickly now. We are ending. Michelle, I am so sorry. I know you've been waiting for a while. Thank you so much for your patience. You're welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Sabi. Good to be here. I've been following you for a very long time, and this is the first time I decided to come on live.
Thank you.
Yes. Sister Debbie, we're encouraging you. I'm calling from Canada, and 21 years is a long time to be in such a situation. And I don't have any legal advice for you or anything to say, but I just need you to take care of yourself. Go see a therapist. I know everyone has given you valid information on this platform on what to do. And as Ross said, you should try and count your cost. You don't look like someone that likes trouble or wahala, as we would say in Nigeria, but try and do take care of yourself. If it's possible, count your cost and let it go. I know you don't seem like a very possessive person. You built your life again. You can start again. As narcissists as they are, they have this trend to always try to put trouble or put issues in your life so that they will not let you go. So try your best to cut him off as much as you can and take care of yourself. My advice to Nigerians, whether in diaspora in Nigeria, if you are in a relationship that long that is making you unhappy, it's unhealthy, please leave it for your sake and for the sake of your children. We always say we are here because of our children, we're in marriages because of our children. And at the end of the day, these children see the damage that is causing. So please, 21 years, a lot of damage has happened. You need therapy. You need to take care of yourself. The
Michelle, we can't hear you anymore, sweetie. Are you there?
personal therapy and personal work. You seem like a very strong lady, and God would be your help. So please, my advice to you is just please take care of yourself. Don't let whatever he hates consume you. Don't allow the situations that have, if it's possible, I really don't have any legal advice. Do your best to let go of the house and start afresh. That is really what I have to say. Sister B, I am grateful for your platform. Everybody's always learning one or two things when they come on board. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I appreciate you. God bless you. Please call again. Thank you for encouraging Sister Debbie. Grace, you are next. Thank you so much. I know the last time you tried and it didn't work. Thankfully, you are here today. Are you okay?
Yes, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. You're welcome.
Oh my gosh, Sister B, thank you for going to Kenya.
That was a lifetime ago.
Yeah, I follow you a lot, a lot, a lot. Uh, I will be very quick because I've just come from work, and yesterday I came from work. Today I came from work. I found you in the middle, but I'll be very quick, and I'll listen to the broadcast later. What happened to that lady? But I just wish to tell you that I am single. I'm 52 years old, and I'm dating a Nigerian guy that is 46 years old. He has his property. I've got my two properties. Um, I don't know, Auntie B. I'm very, very scared because he's telling me all the right things that I want to hear.
Grace, are you
Yeah.
calling about what we are discussing, or this is a different matter entirely?
I think it's about the property. Because I've got my property, and this guy, unless maybe I talk to you separately, we bring it to another
Yeah,
show.
we don't bring other issues when we are discussing one. It's one at a time. So we can't
Okay, no
address
problem.
if you have concerns about the man you are dating and
Yeah.
your own issue, you can't bring it on somebody else's day. When we are
Okay,
talking,
I'm
this is
sorry.
very serious. So if you have
I'm
something
sorry.
to contribute to help Sister Debbie in any way, that's the only call I'm taking tonight.
Okay, I am very sorry.
No,
I
it's
think I
okay.
can
It's
just,
fine.
yeah, I can just
It's
encourage
fine.
her to be strong. I didn't
Yeah.
hear the story right from the beginning, so I apologize.
No, that's okay. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay,
If you want to talk, I mean, if you have concerns and you want to talk to me, we can do that, obviously. But the way we do the show here, I know you are new, but the way we do the show here is that we usually just bring a case and bring
okay,
people, and then we offer advice and we also offer support, and we just lift them up and encourage them.
okay.
That's it.
All
So
right,
you said,
thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. So are you married to this Nigerian man?
No, we are dating. We've been dating for 7 months now,
So what
but
is joining your property? Are your properties are not joined?
they're not joined, but some of them come in a very smart way. Mm.
Oh, Sister Grace, you're making me laugh. You see, some of them come in a very smart way. Okay,
Yeah,
let's talk
yeah.
privately. Okay,
Okay,
uh, ladies, please, all of you should go and get a will. That's all I'll just tell you. Get a will. Okay.
okay,
So, Sister
okay,
Grace, if you don't have a will, go and get a will too. Okay, you need it.
okay. All right.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah,
Then
yeah.
my
We'll talk
number is on the
privately.
screen. Let's
Okay,
talk
no problem.
privately about this.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Thank you.
much.
You look beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you, my
Okay,
Kenyan
bye bye.
sister.
Bye
God
bye.
bless you. He's afraid of
Okay.
Nigerian man. If a Nigerian man will go and bass and do you bass boss. Oh, oh my God. Sorry, I'm laughing, Sister Grace. I'm not laughing at you. It's just that when you said that, some of them can do one kind. I wonder, okay, you are thinking ahead, you don't want to hear story that touch the heart, like property that I bought. Now the property matter we are discussing now. For Nigerian man will come and bring his wallet to your property. Oh God, ladies, please! It's not only men that have will. If you have assets, will it. Sister Debbie, and a lot of people are saying you need a will like yesterday. Yesterday, everything you own, please will it now. Now, very, very important. Don't wait, please. I beg you. Very, 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 very important. Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay, so I think we're just going to end it here because I mean, there's a lot of information that people have kindly presented. Thank you so much, Rao. Thank you, Kitchen Connoisseur, and all the people that have contributed, regarding the legal information. Some people have said that they will advise Sister Grace to just sell if the ex is willing to sell so that she can get another property. I know she has concerns about getting another mortgage, because of the age, because of how much she might be getting off this property. But you know what? There is nothing God cannot do. The important thing is that you have your peace of mind, you have your life, you have your children, you are well. I don't want you to worry overly too much about this property thing because ilé ayé yìí la bá gbogbo ẹ̀, a máa fílẹ̀ lọ ni at the end of the day. The important thing is that you are well, you have your sanity, you are still working, so don't worry too much about it. However way it works, just look up to God and of course do the right thing to protect yourself and your children. But God will take absolute control. The Lord is your strength. So we will still talk privately about this. Actually, are you listening, Sister Debbie?
Yes, I am.
You're listening.
I'm
Okay.
listening.
As soon as I end this show, I'm going to call you directly because I want you to speak to someone who has a bit of information to share with you as well. Are you able to talk tonight? Because I'm not available tomorrow.
Oh, yes, I can talk, definitely.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. So I'll ring you. So I'm just going to end the show now. Thank you very much for being here tonight. I wish
Thank you
you the
so
very best.
much.
Yeah. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for sharing, and I'm sure that your testimony tonight will encourage a lot of people. Yeah. So I will call you right after the show. Okay.
All right. Thank you, my
Okay.
sis. God bless you. Thank
All
you.
right. All right.
And thank you to all the callers. Thank you to all the solicitors. I was just really like so excited, taking copious notes. I wished I had spoken to them before I even got to this stage, but it's better late than never. So I really appreciate every single person. God bless you all. Thank you.
Amen. All right. Okay. So we're just going to call it a day today. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you everybody that contributed. Property is good. I mean, it becomes very, since something that is unfair, if Olatobi, get out. You're distracting me. What's wrong with you?
The dog is out.
What?
The dog is out.
What's that? Get out. Oh, sorry guys. These kids always jumping in when I'm talking. So I'm sure her testimony will encourage somebody today. She's a very strong woman. She's an intelligent woman. She did the work. She put herself to school. In everything I would do, especially, I know divorces are very, very hard. Okay? Nobody plays when it comes to divorce, especially when there's some money and asset to share. But people, please, what you are taking away from tonight, apart from all the red flags I'm not going to go through, you need to watch it from the beginning so you pick out the red flags, is that remember there was a time that you and this person, you loved one another. And think about the children between you. At the end of the day, all of us will go. We will leave these things to our children. So take that into consideration when you are trying to hurt the other person. It is not fair that somebody will work very hard. At the end of the day, you just want to take everything off them. People should just be fair. And I know that, sometimes people walk away and just say, okay, because of the children, you take this, but we are dealing, according to what Sister Debbie has said, now is a narcissist that she's dealing with. But I know she'll be all right by the grace of God. So thanks everyone for being here tonight. Thank you for an amazing week. Back-to-back live shows. I appreciate your support. Please give this video a thumbs up. And if you have not yet subscribed, please do so. And thank you all so much. Have a nice evening. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm wearing my Valentine's Day dress, as you guys can see, my red, my Valentine's Day. If you're not following me on Instagram, you need to. posted it on Instagram. Thank you all so much. Have a good evening, and I shall see you and speak to you in my next video. Please give this video a thumbs up, like, and do share. God bless you. Have a nice week ahead. Bye. Love you. Mwah. Bye-bye. Bye, guys. Thank you.